I know it's a lot. It's 1:10 in the morning, and you still have your tie on.
1:10.
Hang out for a second. I want to ask Rachel Maddow, who's sitting here with me.
You got it.
The significance of this win for Clinton. I mean, if Clinton had lost, even by 1,000 votes, it would be a little bit of a different feel than winning by 20,000 votes.
Yeah, I felt going into this that it was probably going to be a split decision. That's what everybody was anticipating. Right. I felt going into it that the margin didn't matter, that Hillary Clinton has declared a post-rational approach toward getting this nomination. She has not had a clear path to the nomination for a very long time. There would have probably been a tidal wave of press and a tidal wave of advice telling her to get out had she lost Indiana. The fact that she's won may give her enough of a toehold to stay in.
That's right, and because I think we've been talking about this in terms of the numbers, in terms of the fact that it's a long shot, as you point out.
It's been about the numbers for her for a long time.
It's been a long shot for a while. So when it comes to superdelegates, you're dealing with a group that is not necessarily dealing with numbers. Right. They're dealing with momentum, they're dealing with sentiment, they're dealing with a gut reaction, they're dealing with how big a deal is this Reverend Wright thing going to do. Whatever the issue is, these superdelegates are dealing on another level. And so if she loses Indiana, we can say, oh, the delegates are, it doesn't change the delegates much, but it does change the game.
Yeah, that's right, because the superdelegates all get to decide by their individual means of reasoning this out. They could be deciding based on what their constituents think, what the popular vote is, what the pledge delegates are, about their personal loyalties to either candidate. Superdelegates can decide based on anything. So absent a tidal wave, there's no reason to expect that A, Clinton will jump, or B, that the superdelegates will either.
Because
and she can leave.
I have in my hand a Clinton fundraising email that went out late tonight that says, "Dear blank, tonight's victory in Indiana was close, and a margin that narrow means just one thing, every single thing you did to help us, etc., etc. Thank you so much for making this camp. Let's keep making history together, etc." They are still sending out, I mean, they're not closing up shop.
It is not the most desperate plea for funds that you've ever seen from them, but it is not closing up shop. It's very similar in tone to her speech, which of course said, you know, we march on to the White House. This keeps going. This was a tiebreaker, and darn straight we won it. And it was I mean, the fact is that I think that you're hearing. I mean, Tim Russert's proclamation tonight that we know who the Democratic nominee is. That's being echoed in some other quarters tonight. That's very compelling stuff. But that's not an observation. That's a prediction. And we have seen from the Clinton campaign, I think for a very long time now, what I think is a post-rational approach to getting the nomination. I think that they are not saying we can carve out a path and tell you exactly how it's going to work. They've moved the goalposts a lot. I think that their path for a very long time, their justification for staying in, even with all the debt, even with everything else, even with all the pain, is that they think something could happen to Barack Obama between now and Denver, and they want Hillary Clinton to be the last candidate standing.
Or in that state. So the question, was Hillary Clinton changing her tone there? Is Hillary Clinton recognizing that this campaign may effectively be over for her? Joining me once again is Willie Brown, Lawrence O'Donnell, Rachel Maddow, and the Reverend Eugene Rivers joins us as well. Rachel, do you think so? Do you think that Hillary Clinton was effectively saying, I don't want to go on the attack. I got to be careful here. I know what the numbers show, and I want to make it clear I'm going to be a party player.
Well, both candidates made a plea to party unity in their speeches tonight. We've heard both candidates at previous debates also articulate that they would support whoever the nominee is, that they would do this sort of thing.
I mean, I don't know, there was something about the language there that sounded a little more, you know, it seemed more like more of a willingness to say, I will do whatever it takes to win.
Maybe.
No?
Maybe.
No?
I mean, Tim Russert's response to that speech was, it seemed like it was two speeches at once. On the one hand, it was I'm winning, and on the other hand, it was I'm giving up.
And Lawrence, if we were on Fox News, I would ask you to read her body language, but since we're not, I'm not going to.
You don't have to. You don't have to, Dan.
I'm going to actually ask you.
You're absolutely right.
Go ahead.
You're absolutely right. It was a concession speech. That was her throwing in the towel right there. What remains for her is a very big campaign debt, a personal debt. That campaign owes her and Bill $5 million. That's why she's holding the fundraiser tomorrow night in Washington. That's why she got her fundraising plea out in her speech. Really? She's canceling TV tomorrow, which is the real campaign, which is to say she's canceling the real campaign. She's going to maintain the fundraising campaign to try to get those finances back in balance. She's got an easy win coming to her in West Virginia, another one in Puerto Rico, and so she can rack those up without doing any more negative campaigning. The negative campaigning will
that's a very cynical way to look at it. The idea that she's literally
it's professional. It's professional. This is over the first
No, it is not professional.
Wait.
It's very professional.
It's professional. Let me finish my question,
debt.
Lawrence. Let me finish. You're telling me it's professional for her to recognize she's finished, to raise money now, pretending that she's still in it.
No, Dan, please. No, you raise money. John Glenn, when he ran for president, he had a campaign debt that he was raising money for the next 20 years. These presidential campaign debts are deadly. She's going to try to retire hers before she gets out of the race. That's a reasonable thing to do.
I understand as a practical matter, but Willie Brown, I mean, look, maybe I'm viewing that too cynical, but I view that as very cynical. Go ahead, Willie.
No, the whole comment he made is cynical. To suggest that somehow she doesn't go on the morning TV shows because she's given up, but on the other hand, she's going to go raise money. It would be much smarter if she was being totally cynical to go on the morning television shows, knowing that she's going to win in the next 2 states or the next 2 primaries anyway. That was not, she was totally sincere. When she said, I will support the nominee, that's the same thing she's been saying all along. Same thing Obama has been saying all along. And so those of us who think we're pontificating and think we're experts are out to lunch. We've not been in the fray ourselves. We don't know what motivates people, and we should stop being so much of a naysayer and a second guesser.
Well, you know, I'm so nervous to second guess after that, but with that, no, look, I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, but I have to say that the notion, and Harold Ford brought this up earlier tonight, the idea of a Obama-Clinton ticket is a sexy one, right?
It is if you think that the Democrats' challenge for winning in November is what's happened so far in the primaries. I just don't think that's true. I think that might be true if they're picking a vice president at the convention in Denver, which still could be what they're happening. I mean, at that point, the general election is so short, they've got to be working on making up the wounds of the primary. But if somebody's going to be deciding now, why would Barack Obama pick Hillary Clinton now? Why wouldn't he just sit on it for a couple of months?
Well, and also it's this idea that somehow the vice presidential candidate brings in. I mean, you know, John Edwards wasn't able to even bring in the state of North Carolina for John Kerry.
People vote for president, not for vice president. That's it.
Let me take a quick